Have you ever driven alone through the Appalachian Mountains at 3 a.m.? If you have, you know the feeling. It's not the fear of a wild animal or an escaped convict. It's the fear of absolute isolation. My name is Ethan. I'm a freelance journalist chasing stories about America's ghost towns for my upcoming book. That night, my 1998 Ford Ranger was crawling along Route 219. The old engine let out a steady, low rumble, blending with the drizzle pattering against the windshield. The radio signal had died 2 hours ago, leaving nothing but the piercing static of atmospheric noise. The GPS map on my phone was frozen on a blank gray screen, no signal. I was lost. The deeper I drove, the denser the pine trees became on both sides of the road. They towered high into the sky, dark, looming silhouettes standing like giants, staring down at my tiny truck. A thick fog rolled out from the depths of the forest, swallowing the yellow lines on the road ahead. I had to roll down my window a bit to see better. The air that rushed into the cabin was freezing, carrying a strange scent with it. It wasn't the smell of damp earth after the rain, but rather the scent of rotting wood, mingled with a bizarre, sickly sweet metallic tang. The smell of decay. Suddenly, a chilling sensation washed over me, as if countless eyes were staring at me from behind those ancient trees. I pressed harder on the gas pedal, silently praying for a gas station to appear. Suddenly, the truck's pale yellow headlights swept across an object by the roadside. I slammed on the brakes, and the truck skidded slightly on the drenched tarmac before coming to a complete halt. A few meters ahead of my bumper stood a rotting, crooked wooden sign, leaning heavily to one side. The white painted letters had mostly peeled away, but I could still make them out. Welcome to Blackwood. Population, 412. But what sent a shiver down my spine wasn't the unfamiliar town name. It was what lay right beneath the word, Blackwood. Someone had used a sharp object, perhaps a knife or fingernails, to gouge a frantic warning into the wood, turn back. 3 deep, half-meter-long scratches slashed across the sign like a warning written in blood. I swallowed hard, trying to convince myself that this was just a prank by some local troublemakers. Turning back wasn't an option anyway. My fuel light had been glowing red for a while now. I kept creeping forward. A few hundred meters past the sign, old American colonial-style houses began to emerge. The town of Blackwood. Not a single soul, not a single house light on. That was until I reached the central intersection, where the only functioning streetlight flickered, casting a pale, sickly yellow glow. Right beneath that lamppost, someone was standing. He was freakishly tall, at least over 2 meters, wearing a tattered, mud-caked trench coat. He stood with his back to me, as motionless as a statue. The Ford Ranger's engine rattled loudly in the dead silence. I tapped the brakes, bringing the truck to a halt about 5 meters away from the shadow. My heart thudded violently against my ribs. At this distance, I realized just how terrifyingly emaciated the man was. The oversized trench coat flapped in the freezing wind, but his shoulders were sharply pointed and jutted upward in a deformed silhouette. I rolled down the passenger side window just a crack. The mountain chill rushed in instantly, sending goosebumps rippling down my arms. I cleared my throat, trying to keep my voice from trembling. Excuse me, pal. I'm lost. Is there a gas station or a motel around here that's still open? The man didn't turn around. He stood there, as deathly still as a corpse. But then, a dry, hollow crack echoed, like a brittle twig snapping. From inside his tattered sleeve, he slowly raised his right arm. The arm was impossibly long, skeletal, and ash-gray, stretching down well past his knees. Using a long, pointed index finger, he pointed straight toward the end of the solitary road engulfed in thick fog. Throughout it all, he never turned his head to look at me even once. I didn't even bother to say thank you. A primal terror urged me to slam on the gas, and the truck shot past the bizarre man. As my rearview mirror passed the lamppost, I dared to steal a glance back. Beneath the flickering yellow light, there was no one. He was gone, as if he had never existed. My hands trembled as I gripped the steering wheel, cold sweat drenching my forehead. I drove like a madman for another 2 minutes, speeding past rows of dark, derelict wooden houses. Then, a lifeline appeared. At the end of the road, a pinkish-red neon light flickered, cutting through a patch of the fog. It was a classic 1980s retro American diner, named the Appalachian Diner. The neon sign buzzed with a low hum, and the "Open" sign hanging on the glass door looked like a literal lifesaver. I pulled the truck into the lot, locked the doors tightly, and bolted inside. The wind chime hanging on the door let out a dry, hollow clink as I pushed it open. The artificial warmth of the heater blasted me in the face, but it did nothing to ease the chill down my spine. The red leather boots were worn and torn, and the polished metal counter reflected the dim lighting. Sitting behind the counter was an old man with snow-white hair, wearing a stained, yellowed apron. He was wiping a glass over and over again. Strangely, his movements were so slow and rhythmic that they felt mechanical. His eyes were dull and vacant, and his skin was as pale as someone suffering from severe anemia. "Hello," I spoke up, my footsteps echoing sharply against the tiled floor. The old man slowly raised his head, staring blankly at me. There wasn't a hint of surprise in his eyes, only a deep-seated, hidden terror. I sat down on a stool near the counter. "Sir, this town is called Blackwood, right? I'm looking for a place to stay. There's absolutely no cell service here, and out there's a very bizarre guy." The old man stopped wiping the glass. He looked at me, his voice raspy and whispering like dry leaves scraping together. "Young man, you shouldn't be here. It's been a very long time since a living soul set foot in Blackwood." I frowned, feeling a chill run down my spine. "What do you mean by that? Aren't you and that man outside here right now?" The old man flashed a bitter smile, his lips dry and cracked. The town of Blackwood was wiped off the map after a horrific fire in the winter of 1982. All 412 people burned to ash down in the mines. "Look, over there on the wall." Following the old man's trembling finger, I turned to look at the wooden wall behind me. Hanging there was a yellowed, decaying local newspaper, encased in a dust-covered glass frame. The headline struck me instantly, printed in bold, black letters: "The Blackwood Tragedy, 412 Dead in 1982 MINE Explosion." Beneath it was a black and white photograph showing the aftermath of the incinerated town. And right in the center of the photo, standing next to the ruins of this very diner, was the image of the old owner, staring into the camera. His face was identical to the man standing before me right now. My head spun, my breathing grew frantic. What the hell was happening here? Right then, the buzzing of the neon sign grew louder. The light flickered violently before abruptly dying, plunging the entire diner into pitch black darkness. Only the weak moonlight filtering through the window remained. Screech, scratch, screech. A piercing sound erupted directly above our heads. The sound of sharp claws violently scratching against the diner's metal roof. The scratching grew faster, heavier, and more frantic, like a massive beast trying to tear through the ceiling with its talons to get inside. "It's here. It smells fresh meat," the old man whispered in the dark. But this time, his voice wasn't coming from in front of me anymore. It sounded distant, echoing and surreal. Trembling, I turned on my phone's flashlight. The beam of white light swept across the counter. The old man was gone. There wasn't a soul in sight. The diner was no longer clean like it was moments ago. Instead, it revealed charred, blackened walls, crumbled ash-coated furniture, and a ceiling sagging under the immense weight of something crawling directly above. The scratching stopped right over where I was standing. A drop of foul, black liquid dripped from a crack in the ceiling, landing right on my phone screen.